Okay, story time. My 17th birthday, which I'm gonna be 19 soon. Today is the 28th of October. I will be 19 on the 11th of November. And so I wanted to share, I watched a bunch of story times from this other girl, and I was just thinking like, shit, I have some funny stories too, and this is one of them. And I don't want to forget it. It was my 17th birthday. I think I had started doing shrooms when I was 16. Yeah, definitely wasn't earlier than that. And I loved them, and I had never had a bad trip. It was only ever amazing, so I was like, fuck it. My hair looks so bad. I was like, fuck it. That looks worse. I'm gonna trip on my 17th birthday, right? I was with Hunter at the time, so Hunter's the one who was with me for the whole thing. He was the only one with me. I don't remember anything besides, like, anything before walking up to his car, which was in my driveway, with the bag of shrooms in hand. I was like, I think I had decided to take them towards the latter half of the car ride so that by the time we got to the mall, they would have been hitting. And yeah, I just remember, I don't remember what my birthday was like before then, but I remember at night I was walking up to his car and we were about to be on the way to the mall, and the drive there, don't remember much either, so it must have just been normal. But I do remember pulling into the mall parking lot. I don't remember starting to take them, the shrooms, so it was probably 15 minutes before this. But I do remember, like, once we got pulled into the parking lot of the mall, I took the bag of shrooms out again, and I was like, it had been a little, like 15 minutes maybe, and I was like, oh, they're not hitting. Classic fucking, they're not hitting, let me take more. So I took more, and not a lot more, maybe like half a gram more, or a quarter of a gram more, or something like that. And it was fine. And as soon as I stepped out of the car and we were walking through the parking lot, then it started to hit. And I was like, oh, okay, shit. But that was something in the back of my mind. Because most of me was just, I was just laughing my ass off. I, I almost remember what I was talking about. If, like, I'll probably remember tomorrow exactly what I'm trying to think of now, but it was just something goofy that, just those shroom thoughts that, like, it's not really funny, but it's funny to you. It was some shit like that I was talking about. And, then eventually we got to it's all kind of a blur. Maybe I should have picked a better story. Honestly, all of my stories are blurs because of the nature of what I was doing in them. So, but I guess, I don't know, I'll just make this one quick, right? So, we get to the mall, and what sticks with me is just what was like, well, the traumatic shit sticks with me, right? But the mundane stuff of like getting there at first and waiting for the shrooms to hit doesn't really. I don't know. We probably just walked around the mall and fucking went to Hot Topic or whatever, and we're like looking at shit. Oh my god, wait. No, it just all came back to me. So sorry about that. We got to the mall. I remember now there were other people there, but we weren't hanging out with them in the end. When we got to the mall, my friends were already there. Mine and Hunter's friends were already there. I remember Andrew was there, who's Hunter's friend, and they were watching Black Panther 2. It had like just come out. I think Andrew and two other friends of his who were like mutual friends, whatever, but not as close. And so we met when we got there. Then we met Andrew in the bathroom, the movie theater bathroom, because I don't think the movie had started yet, and he had a cart with him. And so I had taken the shrooms. I was like, yo, let me hit the cart. So, I hit it a bunch of times, but I didn't think it was that much. And then Hunter was like, yo, let me hit it too. This was a new cart, by the way. Like, he had just got it the day or the day before. And so Hunter was like, yo, let me hit it. Da 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 da. And, so they hit it. We hit it. We're just shooting the shit, talking in this movie theater bathroom. I was in the boys' bathroom, by the way, because they'd already started to hit me, and I just didn't give a fuck. So I was in the boys' bathroom. And, Well, basically, we give the cart back to Andrew, and he's like, "Holy shit, it's half empty." It's half fucking empty. And I didn't believe him, so I looked at it. It was half empty. Between me and Hunter, we had drained half of it. In We weren't in the bathroom a long time either. Like, don't let it get confused. We were in there maybe 15 minutes. Maybe 15 minutes. Again, I was on Shroom, so my perception of time is not good. So, could have been 5. But it was enough time to drain half of a cart. So, there's that. So, basically, then, maybe I'm forgetting something else, but I believe the next thing we did was like walk around the mall. Yeah, it was walk around the mall for a bit. And then, once Black Panther started, I was like, holy shit, wait, we gotta go see Black Panther. But I didn't want to pay for the tickets. He didn't want to pay for the tickets. In fact, it had already started, so I don't even think they were selling them anymore. So we were like, let's just ask Andrew which fucking theater he's in, and let's just go in the goddamn theater, like anybody else would do, right? So we do just that, and there are like no seats available. I couldn't see any seats. This movie had just come out as Black Panther 2, like it looked like it was sold out. So we just kind of sat in the back, like by the disability like things. And there was this other couple near us who were also sitting in the back, probably had also snuck in. And I just remember as soon as I sat down, the shrooms were really hitting. Like it really hit me at this moment. And I just immediately thought like, oh my God, we're going to get caught and kicked out of the mall. Everyone is after us. The AMC employees saw us go in here without paying, this and that. And I would look at the movie to try and take my mind off of it. And I just remember seeing I think it was the scene where one of the women is in like a race car or some shit. I don't know what the fuck was going on, but everything was just exploding into colors and like these, when you put oil into water and the oil kind of bubbles and like, it looked like that. There would just be bursts of color in like this oil bubble shape that would just kind of, and half of me was like, this is fucking awesome, and the other half of me was like, I am so scared shitless right now. I can't. So Hunter's with me though, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. I have my safety, I have my support. I remember like as soon as I'm thinking that, he turns to me and he's like, yo, do you want to leave? And I'm like, wait, why? Like, what's the matter? He's like, dude, I am so fucking high, I'm tweaking. And that is when I was like, oh no, like I'm in this shit alone. Like he's with me, and it's better than nothing, right? But he's anxious himself. He's fucking tweaking himself just off the cart. So, because I think he was the one who mostly drained it. Oh, I forgot to mention this as well. In the beginning, when we pulled into the parking lot, yeah, I did mention it. I ended up taking more, but he had told me before I did that, he was like, yo, are you sure you want to do that? Because I don't think that's a good idea. So I think he was anxious that I was going to have a bad trip. And so with the cart, that really didn't help the anxiety. So he was basically like, yo, do you want to get out? And I was kind of sitting there like, nah, 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 it's good. Like, we're good. We'll be fine. So, excuse me, by the way. So I waited for it felt like 10 more minutes, but it must have been maybe 1 or 2 more minutes. And then I looked at him and I was like, okay, let's get the fuck out of here. I don't like this. And I remember leaving and like going through the doors again. And when I pushed open the doors, I saw this like green and blue pulsating like Aztec face. Really cool visuals. And I remember thinking that was cool. It didn't actually freak me out, but I just want to mention it. And I was not doing great at this point, so I was just like, listen, can we just sit down? In this mall, there's like I think probably every mall. There's the movie theaters, like rooms, and then there's the corridor with like all the seats and the posters and shit. So I just sat down on one of the seats, I was sweating bullets, or at least I was starting to sweat. And I remember looking at Hunter, and it was like decent lighting in here, not like the theater, so I could actually see him. And he was dripping fucking sweat. His eyes were bulging and puffy and red as like so red and so heavy, and like he was just gone. And I felt so like, oh my God, I really got myself into some shit now. because I'm in no position to be taking care of him and he's in no position to be taking care of me. So who the fuck is doing what? You know what I mean? So, um, after that, the next thing I remember, this was probably only 10 minutes later because I think we just sat on that bench for like a long ass time. Oh, God, I remember looking up at the light, like the ceiling fixture, the light fixture, and I it literally like I had no all of a sudden all of my depth perception was lost and it looked like I was staring at a 2D image or even like this is gonna sound really weird, but almost like negative 2D. Like it didn't go, or negative 3D is what I mean. It didn't go out, it went in. You know what I mean? Like the light, it was this round kind of chandelier kind of thing, but it looked like instead of bulging out, it was like in, and that makes no sense, right? But that's what I saw. That's exactly what it looked like, and it's really fucking hard to describe. So I remember that, and I think oh, and the letters were like the signs and stuff were waving, all that classic shit. And I was starting to feel a little better. I was like, okay, like it's kind of fun. I was telling Hunter what I was seeing. He was sort of laughing, but he wasn't all the way there. He was in his own fucking world off the cart. And because he was a lightweight at this time as well, I was into way heavier shit. We had both done shrooms, and weed and all whatever alcohol, like as everybody has in Manor. But not to the extent he hadn't done it to the extent that I had, so it was a little different. And basically then the next thing I remember after all that is trying to leave the building and before like I didn't want to full send leave. I was like maybe the trip's going to turn up, like maybe it's going to be okay. I don't know. Right? We'll see. I just didn't want to I just felt like I had fucked everything up by taking too much and like cuz I had that's the truth. I shouldn't have taken that much. Otherwise, it would have been a great birthday and this would be a totally different story. So I felt bad about that, and I wanted to give it like more time before I totally gave up on having a good birthday at the mall. So I remember there's this like section in the mall right outside the movie theater where there are even more posters and more benches, but there's also like a shit ton of restaurants around it and it's like way busier. And I just remember like okay, the benches are like there's no back to them, so they're kind of like 360-degree view, like everybody can see you from any point on the bench. And it's in the middle of the hallway in this part of the mall. So I just remember laying on this bench like fucking Jesus Christ with my arms out, drenched in this is when I was sweating bullets. Like I was wet. All of my hair was fucking wet. And I was breathing like this, like fucking like almost having a panic attack. And I was just kind of laying on Hunter's lap while he was just sitting there fucking greened out of his mind, just staring dead forward. And everybody who passed us, like I remember seeing this one couple just it was everyone though, but I specifically remember one couple who was like, they just gave the most as they're walking past us, right? They look at us, give us a dirty look. That was like the most extreme thing. I don't even think it was a dirty look. I think it was a look of concern, like, what is wrong with these people? Why is she sweating and like hyperventilating and laying down on the bench? And why is he just staring out into nothing? It was fucking bad. And then there's one last cherry on top to this story. Yeah, pretty much one. These little details are all connected. After that point, I was like, okay, fuck this. I need to go home. We have to go to the car now. I can't, not even that I had to be home. I just had to get out of the mall. The mall, because here's another thing. I had never tripped in public before this. I went from 0 to 60. It was like I had tripped in my own room, only in my own room, with very trusted people a handful of times. Not that much. So the fact that I went from that to the fucking mall to like seeing Black Panther and just being around all these people, it was bustling because like the movie had just come out, so everyone was at the mall, and it was probably a Saturday or some shit too. On top of that, like I remember we weren't in school. So, well, my birthday's a holiday, but you get the idea. Um, so Anyway, I remember finally I was like, okay, let's just leave. Let's go get to the car. Like, I don't care if you can't drive right now, it's fine. Let's just sit in the car, whatever. And so we go to the parking lot and we cannot find the car. Like, we have no idea where the fuck we parked. And this is a huge mall parking lot. Like, it could be fucking anywhere. And I am starting to actually lose my shit. I am like, and what's making me lose my shit more is that I can tell my boyfriend is also getting anxious. And it's like, dude, I can't help right now. I'm on fucking shrooms. I can't do anything. I can hardly remember my own goddamn name. I'm so in my head about everything. And then it's like this meta thing of like, the second I thought that I might be getting anxious, that made me anxious in and of itself. It was just this cycle of like, the more anxious thoughts I had, the more I'd be like, oh my god, I'm gonna have a panic attack. And then the more I'd feel like having a panic attack. So, that sucked. About like I don't know. It wasn't that. We probably looked for the car for about 5 minutes, which felt like a fucking eternity for me. But it was probably about 5 minutes. And eventually Hunter saw it. And at that point, like, that was when the nightmare status kind of started to die down because I was like, okay, we're gonna be in the car. It's gonna be good. Like, we're gonna be able to get back home. I trust Hunter to drive. He's not on shrooms. The cart will wear off. Like, honestly, I don't even think the cart was the biggest problem. I think he was just incredibly anxious because he could tell I was totally helpless and totally like not having a good time, and he didn't know what to do about it. And he's just a naturally anxious person. So basically, we sit in the car, and he's like, "Yeah, I can't drive right now. Like I am still way too fucked up and anxious and tweaking." So we just kind of we both sat in the backseat of his car, just like spooning each other on top of all this dirty laundry and fucking junk and shit and old McDonald's bags. We probably sat there just spooning each other for about 30 minutes. And I felt calmer, but not great. I remember at one point I was vividly telling myself, like, it's okay, like, if we get stuck here, we're only 45 minutes away from home, like, we can have someone come pick us up, it's all good. It's like crazy, because we were okay, we were fine. But, then the very last cherry on top is like right when we were actually well two more cherries on top. Pretty horrifying ordeal in total. Right when he was finally feeling like he was ready to drive, um, he starts the car and whatever, and we start trying to get out of the parking lot, and we realize we don't know how the fuck to get out of this parking lot. It is the most it's like everything is a one way and nothing actually leads out into the main road. Like it is all just at least in our fucked up brains, our anxious, fucked up brains, it just nothing made any fucking sense. It sucked. Like, I could not tell anything. And eventually I was just like, yo, Hunter, just sit here in the car and wait until you see somebody leave and just follow them. And that's exactly what we did. We just waited for someone to leave and we followed them. And naturally, this is the very last part of the story. We get on the highway. This is not a small highway. We went to the Middletown Mall, Galleria, so it's like the highway to there. At least in my eyes, that's a big highway because I'm from a small town, so we got onto there and it starts fucking torrential downpouring. Like, literally, all you can see is sort of like it's nighttime as well. It's downpouring. All you can see is like the red and blue hues of, or not blue, red and yellow hues of people's like tail lights and shit, and the headlights coming from the other side. And everything else was just wet and fucking like horrible. And one more thing. Here's one of the worst parts. Just a knife in me. We left the Black Panther movie because I was just worried about like getting caught and how there was no seats for me or anything like that. Literally, within 5 minutes after we decided to leave the movie, some fucking white woman started screaming racist shit in the theater about N-word this, N-word that, and almost everybody left. So there was nothing but fucking open seats. And we could have had a great night and gone and found our friends who were watching the movie and sat down with them and yada 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 yada. Had almost nobody around us. It would have been perfect. But it would have been a way less fun story. So, I just wanted to share that before I completely forget it because it's already been 2 years and a lot of the memories have, if I'd done this video right after it happened, it'd probably be like an hour long, but hey, whatever. I still remember all the good stuff. So, yeah, I guess that's it.